kick it off and go back to here. All right. Okay, well, this looks like, why am I missing stuff here? Anyway, well, we are live, guys, and hopefully those that are, tuned into the stream, welcome. You are on a live episode of Live Free and Ham. This is our happy hour, our first one we're running, so we're glad to have you in attendance. And thank you guys for those that are watching there. And feel free along the way to join in on the chat there. We're going to keep this really casual today, and we got a couple of great guests here tonight. And so to kind of start things off, obviously my co-host, one of my co-hosts, Ryan, obviously is not here. He's off flying the friendly skies again, so we will miss him, but hopefully he's tuned in there. And so, we'll definitely like to hopefully see him in the chat. But I am also flanked here by my other co-host, Todd W1STJ. Go ahead and say hi, Todd.
Hi, guys.
Cool. And then followed after Todd is of our episode 6 fame, Tim KC1QDK. He has been with us on our episode 6, as I mentioned. Talked about technicians and whatnot. So say hello, Tim.
Hello, everybody.
Cool. And we got 2 great other guests. We've got Paul, KF4TPY.
Hi. Infamous fame from our POTA videos.
Oh, POTA dogs. Yes, I totally forgot. My mistake there, Paul. Yeah, we had a great time getting out there after having a crappy day. We made a great video of that, so you can head over there and watch Paul and I make some great contacts. And, we had a great guest as well, Rob from the YouTube channel SevenFortyOne. Go ahead and say, Rob.
Hey guys, well, thanks for inviting me along here on this little chat that you've got. Hang on a second.
We're just having technical difficulties.
Sorry about that.
No
Of
problem.
course, the phone rings right at that time. I'm organizing an event in town tomorrow, so I think people are calling me. But anyway, thanks for having me here. Sorry I'm a little bit discombobulated here. Hang on a second. I'll get back to you in a minute.
No problem. Sounds good, Rob. All right. Well, hey, we'll let Rob dive off to that. But, so those that are on the chat, we see Casey there. Thank you for joining, Casey, as well. Good to see you. And we are working on that echo. We apologize. StreamYard is just going to be a fussy mess tonight. So we apologize for the echo there. But we'll definitely, try to do our best to combat that and still, keep this thing rolling on the tracks there. And we got a couple other people there. We got Jason. Good to see you there, Jason. Whiskey 5 India Papa Alpha. And there's a few others here as we start to keep chiming in here. So feel free to, say hello in the chat. We'll make sure we circle back around later and, make sure we get you guys there on the list. But tonight is our kind of a happy hour session. So we're going really casual tonight. We really just want to, make this process, fun. And, it's our first attempt at, doing a live stream with a bunch of different guys. And as you can tell, technical difficulties are, not evading us tonight. So again, it is what it is, but hopefully everyone enjoys it and, can be part of it. Kind of in our usual style, we like to, kind of kick things off with all of our typical shows. What's been going on in your ham shack is usually our, tagline of choice. If you got something going on, definitely, we'll kind of go through the start of the list here and I'll start with Todd, but, as in our usual fashion, like I said, what's been going on in your ham shack, Todd?
Well, Friday I was able to activate a park, which was, or actually 2 parks out in Vermont. I had an hour to go, or a few hours to go between my 2 meetings. So I went to Thetford State Park / State Forest, Kilo 5545 and Kilo 3147. So made about 23 contacts, all on 10 meters. So it was good activation, and as soon as I was done, it started to rain. So the weather held out on me. I couldn't believe it. As soon as I got everything in, I get in the Jeep, and it just started pouring. I was like, sweet. So yeah, so it was good activation. I hadn't done one in a while, so it was I was glad to get it back out there and doing it again. It was the first time I used my POTA bag. So it was really nice having everything in one bag and just being able to open it up and get everything set up.
Awesome here. So we're going to play the mute game. So, just so our participants here can control this a little bit, so we don't have this treacherous echo that keeps haunting us. Mute as you can, and we'll just, deal with it as we go. So, over to, so awesome on the POTA stuff. I mean, you got Vermont in the books there. And how many contacts again you said you had?
I had like 23. I did, Vermont, I think in July. It was my first time activating Vermont, but this one was a twofer. It was right on the Connecticut River, so right on the border. So it worked out perfect. It was right where I was driving by, and I stopped by and set it up.
Very cool, very cool. All right, well, hey, so passing the baton on there, go ahead and take it, Paul. So what's been going on in your ham shack this evening or this week?
Well, so I got a chance to go visit Russell Abbott State Forest again. I went out with the express intention of tuning my new Xtenna. It didn't go as planned, so a couple hours in, I said, you know what, I'm going to throw the MPass 2.0 up and just have some fun, make some contacts. I think I was on air for about 2 hours and made 52 contacts. I went into the middle of Europe and all the way out to California. So I was really happy with that. Then I had some issues at the home shack. My primary antenna, the Cobra Ultralight Senior, went deaf. I did sort it out. What had happened was the feed line where it connected to the balun had shorted, and so it was totally fried on the inside. So I swapped the feed line out, and now my dipole's back up in action, and I'm good to go.
Is it sounding a heck of a lot better now that you sorted out the water? I mean, it got water in it the first time, right?
Oh, the entire balun box was filled with water. Yeah, I didn't read the directions. They say there are no weep holes, so make sure that you drill weep holes before you install it.
Who needs the directions? What? Just toss them out to the side. Why not?
Exactly.
What's a manual for? Who looks at manuals?
Cool. Well, glad you got that sorted out and you're back on, and so you got some. So contact wise, you got 52 that time, and you were a 2 hour time span.
Yeah, about 2 hours.
That's impressive. So, doing pretty good. If you haven't caught the video on my channel at all with Paul and I, head over there. It's the POTA Dogs one. It's just the latest one released. But we had a blast. We were both having crappy days, and we decided just to get out there and play POTA, and we were all the better for it for sure.
It's my new favorite state park.
I know, totally. So cool. All right. Well, hey, good on that one. So let's pass the baton anyway. Pass it over to you, Tim. Go ahead. So what's been going on in your ham shack today?
Okay, there. Hi, guys, and hello, everybody. Thanks for watching. I'm a big fan of Eric and Todd and Ryan and their YouTube and podcast adventures, and I love that I get to be a part of it too. And anytime, guys, I'll always come and join in and help any way I can. So in my shack, I just finished building the True USDX. I have to install the speaker a little better. I think I installed it incorrectly, but it's one of those direction things where I probably reversed it, or something. But pretty easy fix and work on that.
Very cool.
And I've been doing some Morse code, and I signed up for CW Ops Academy. They test you before they let you join a class, and you get to qualify for the class. And I was pretty proud of myself. I qualified for the intermediate class, but I signed up for the fundamental because I still feel like with multiple choice, anybody can be intermediate. Because you have a 40% chance of answering correctly.
Yeah, well, hey, dude, you're probably way better than me at CW for sure. And I have to say,
it's coming along. And the last POTA we did, I tried to activate with only CW, and Steve was there. He was helping me. We weren't successful, but that's not because we didn't try. And it was fun getting together with the club and setting up the little QRP rig and trying to make some contacts. And still going to keep trying doing that. And that's kind of what I like to do. So
very cool.
Thanks for having me on again, guys.
Yeah, no problem. Glad to have you on, Tim. And we as like I said, we're talking POTA tonight, and so we know you're the one that's gone out and done a heck of a lot of POTA, and past couple of months more than I think Todd and I combined because we've been so swamped. But yeah, good to have you on, and thanks for coming. So to invite. I extended an invite to Rob, who's of YouTube, channel fame, 741. So, Rob, what's been going on in your ham shack?
Hey guys. So first off, thanks for inviting me along. Really appreciate the invite here. First off, I'm not a big live streamer, so if I get a little tongue tied, I apologize. I kind of search for words sometimes when I'm talking. Second of all, I want to apologize for the phone call a minute ago. I work with my son's Boy Scout troop, and we're running an event in town tomorrow, so people are texting me and calling me and asking me questions about it right now. So apologize for that. I didn't expect any of that. I thought we had it all clear. As far as the ham stuff goes, we actually had an interesting day yesterday. There's a club in Southern Connecticut. I don't belong to the club, but I know a fair number of the members. They're all great guys. I used to work with one of them. And they were putting together something that they were calling sort of Activate Connecticut Day, where I guess it was Support Your Parks weekend. So they try and do this in conjunction with that. And the idea was to have as many Connecticut hams who do POTA out at POTA parks to get as many on the air simultaneously as we could. And then at 11 o'clock, we were going to have a net, so to speak, where all of the parks were going to contact each other so that we could all get park to park, within Connecticut, as many parks as we could.
And on 2 meters too, all the better. I mean, that's
well,
rare.
No, Connecticut's not conducive to VHF as you might think.
Mm-hmm.
We've got a lot of hills in the eastern part of the state and the western part. So we were actually trying to do it on 40 meters. And it started to work out pretty well at first, but what ended up happening yesterday, I think it was the same thing up there for you guys in New Hampshire. It poured. So some of the guys were set up at parks that had pavilions. It was a little easier for them. Where I chose to set up, we didn't have a pavilion. I just had heavy suburban. So we all kind of took shelter in that. There were a handful of us that kind of came and went. We made some contacts in the morning. I had one guy stop by that was not a ham. I had sort of advertised it on the local repeater and on one of the club Facebook groups, and he caught wind of it. So he showed up. He's interested in soda and POTA, doesn't have his license yet, but wanted to ask some questions and see kind of how it all went. So I spent a good hour with him, just talking about ham radio and getting his enthusiasm up and that kind of thing. So I think we got another guy that'll be soon, so it'll be good. And then we had a few other stop by. And then we had that at 11 o'clock. And it started out okay, but a lot of guys didn't make it out to the parks. So we had a list of about 15 or so people that were supposed to be out, and maybe only about half of them were there. So then it started a little bit of time. There were some gaps where there was dead air. And then ended up having a jamboree on the air station up 1 KC away from us, and it kind of wiped everything out. So we just kind of called it quits at that point. So it was a success, but it was also a little bit touched harder. I think we wanted to see it, but we learned some stuff. I think we'll do it a little bit different next time, and hopefully the weather will be a little better. But but yeah, that was the big thing for yesterday, and it was a lot of fun despite the rain.
Yeah, well, it's funny you say that. I knew it was Sport Your Parks weekend, and I had some family event that I had to actually go down in Cromwell, and so I was like, I was hoping I packed the POTA gear stuff, and I'm thinking maybe there's a possibility I could get out, and it just poured buckets the whole entire time, and I was like, out of all the times, it would have been great to be able to hit, like, there's 3 or 4 parks at least I know, going home that I could probably hit, and the family would just been dragged with me to go, but my daughter's a ham, so I can kind of get away with it a little bit, but yeah, it's kind of a bummer that it just poured buckets.
Oh yeah, well, too bad you weren't able to get out there and put another Connecticut park on the air.
Yeah, if I knew, I think that would have been a blast. I totally, that what you guys do, that's exactly kind of what I'd love to be able to, represent. That's an awesome idea to be able to just do that in the state you're in, to be able to just kind of get more people active and out on more parks, especially on Support Your Parks weekend. I mean, that's even better. But yeah, just that rain, I think, killed everything, and it was Jamboree on the air too as well, right?
Yeah, that was going on too.
So yeah, that can add to misery, especially with the rain. But hey, scouts are already used to the rain. I'm an Eagle Scout, so I know I can tolerate all that. Not that I like it, but I can tolerate. So cool.
Yeah,
all right.
Well, my son's troop isn't really into the radio stuff yet, but maybe they will. We'll see.
Yeah, it's kind of funny because like my history, that's kind of, I got a little taste of it, but it was only like 1 or 2 hams in the troop at the time, and they really just, they did their thing with the radios, and they were always the cool guys in the camp when we went to like do some backpacking trips, because they were the ones for the communications, I think. So I was like, oh, I want to do that. I can't pack my CB radio, so let's see what this ham stuff's about. So cool, guys. All right. Well, it's great to have all you guys here on here. We're going to try this, a little bit on and off. So if you play your mute buttons on and off, see if we can, minimize some of the echo if you hear it. But ultimately, we'll, hopefully we'll keep the conversation flowing. So tonight we're just talking about POTA. I mean, we all do it at different levels and all have stuff going on. So I kind of just wanted to frame the conversation, what POTA activity you kind of like love to do? Like, what's the biggest thing when you do get a chance to get out there and do POTA? Are you more of an activator? Are you more of a hunter? Do you have like you a big QRO guy, QRP guy, 100 watts or die? Kind of talk a little bit about that. What's your setup, a little bit of it, and we'll kind of bounce ideas around, because I think some of us have similar kind of configurations, but it's always good to hear, other people's take on that, because I know, a few on the stream here definitely have done the QRP thing, and the legit QRP thing, and, and have done really well with it. So anyway, who wants to kind of take it first and, talk a little about the stuff? Todd, you're a seasoned POTA guy. Go ahead.
Yeah, I like to do, hold on a second, I gotta get the echo off. All right. I like to activate. That's probably my favorite thing to do. I'm also a hunter. I've got 2 states away. I need Alaska and Hawaii. I've hit both of them while I was at parks. They just weren't parks that I was talking to. So looking for some parks out there. So there was one last night when I was working, and I was all excited. I get on my Flex, and I'm remote, and I can't hear anything. I'm like, yep, not going to hear that one. But yeah, that's what I like to do the most, is just get out and do it. And I don't do it often enough. I was on a rampage where I was doing them all the time, and then I just got too busy. I'm coaching baseball and just stuff with home and kids and work. So I've kind of slowed down. That's why Friday was a nice change, because it was good to get out, get the gear out again, and remember how to do it. And I think my favorite part is when I get a pile up. I love working the pile-ups. It's a lot of fun, and I get into this zone, and then when the pile-up finally ends, and I look at how many contacts I made, I was like, wow, I can't believe I made that many. So that's kind of my thing, and I like going out and checking out new places. There's a lot of cool places out there I'd probably never go to if it wasn't for Parks on the Air. I probably wouldn't be driving around and taking a 10-minute detour to check out a new park. Just because, why would I go there? But now I have a reason, and I like to check it out. And I've been traveling a little bit for work, so I've been down to Mississippi, Florida. Looks like I might be going down to Virginia soon, and Arkansas. So I like to get the new state. So I'm gonna set a bucket list that I'll work every state before I die. So I'm gonna have to take some road trips, I think.
dude, Virginia is definitely the place to, it's for lovers and ham radio operators. That's what I hear. Cool. So, who, in general, who wants to pick it up next?
I'll talk about what I like to do when I activate Park. So far, I've been activating all digitally. I haven't talked to anybody really. That thing hanging from the radio. I
What
just
is that?
unplugged that. I don't even bring that with me. So I've done a lot of that, and I've been trying to do more SCODE, and I've been struggling with it, but eventually I'm going to be able to activate a park with CW, and that's my goal, and getting closer all the time. So
Nice. So have you done, you've done any CW yet? Have you actually done a park and activated a park under CW at all, or no?
no, not yet.
Okay. And so
I've made a CW contact as a hunter.
Yeah.
But I have not activated a park with CW yet.
Okay. And you run in full power, or you run in just, the regular QRP stuff that you're starting to, build and construct, or no?
I've so far I've only operated QRP with CW and 5 watt.
Okay.
And, the little true USDX, like
Oh yeah, the kit.
yeah, I got it over here behind. I'm not gonna plug it and show it to you. You know what it looks like.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But yeah, I've been using that, and I just got a new antenna for it. It's a whip antenna with a built-in tuner.
How was that working out? You tried that up at Nearfest, didn't you?
Yeah, but it was a giant Faraday cage. The building was metal, and I didn't make any contacts at Nearfest this year. Last year, I made 2 CW contacts, and both of them were at Nearfest. So I got one guy in the parking lot, guy from the club, Barry. He came up, he goes, "What are you doing?" He goes, "I have that in my car." And I said, "You get CW in your car?" And he said, "Yeah, I do it while I'm driving." I'm like, "Well, I hope you pull over." And he's, "No, oh yeah, I pull over, and I'll get out in the parking lot, and we'll try to do it." And it was the shortest 20-meter contact in ever. And he sent me a QRL card and all that, and I hung it up on the wall. I like that one. But that's what I've been doing, digital and CW, and I'm moving towards doing all CW. We'll see if I can pull it off in the future.
I keep forgetting that I meet myself. So, yeah, no, that definitely sounds like a great plan there, and definitely a good goal. I know my CW skills are, I think I know E, but it's a good start. Although, I should be following your TikToks. That's all I have to say. Sadly, I am not, and therefore I should be punished. So, anyway, all right, cool.
No,
Well, hey,
it's all right. The TikTok things, they made me practice because I had to listen to myself, and as I gain experience, and I'm watching myself on the TikTok, I'm thinking, geez, I maybe shouldn't have done it that way. So I might have to do it again. But the letter B has like 3 million views or something like that. I'll tell you that.
wow, that's insane.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy, right?
Does TikTok pay you for those many views or no?
No, but my Gmail is full of TikTok. I might have to block them because I can't find the other mail.
Oh, that's great.
All right. Well, hey, what about Paul or Rob? You guys can pick it up. So, a little bit about kind of your setup. I mean, go ahead, Rob, and you can talk a little bit about what you've done for POTA and what your kind of favorite setup is, or what you're working on right now. If you've done any recent POTA.
Why don't you take it, Paul? I'll go last. I'm the guest here.
All right. Well, I guess I'm relatively new to POTA. well, I'm a relatively new ham. So, I got interested in ham radio when COVID hit. Obviously, portable activating was a big motivator for wanting to learn. Um, I began the iteration with an ICOM 706 Mark II-G. Fantastic all-in-one radio. But it's a little weighty, to be carrying around for POTA. So I did upgrade to the Yaesu 891, which is like this same radio that everybody that does POTA uses. But it's a fantastic radio. Now I'm in the phase where I guess I'm trying to minimize my antenna weight. The Wolf River coil is a fantastic antenna, but it's not always the easiest to lug around. And then I got the Chameleon MPass 2.0, which is it's even bulkier to carry around. So I think that the hope is that the Xtenna is going to be the new POTA antenna. Resident on 40, 20, 15, and 10. So that'll be good. But I mean, I think I've got 5 activations currently, one in Florida, and the rest were up here. The Florida activation was my first solo on my own activation, which is kind of neat because I was down there on vacation. I think in a matter of like 2.5 hours, I had over 100 contacts. So it was absolutely fantastic. And that's where I guess you get that hook, right? When you're going out and you're activating a park, if you have a super successful activation, you just want to do it more. And it doesn't. You don't have to have the fanciest radio. You don't have to have the fanciest gear. I've seen everything from really inexpensive setups to really expensive setups, and I think if you've got any interest at all, just explore that interest. Go out with somebody, and you'll figure it out whether you like it or not.
Yeah, it's totally like like you said, it's an addictive drug for sure, but it's one that you don't have to go through a recovery system for. Thank God.
You just got to watch the bank balance.
Well, yeah, true. There we go. And the wife factor, but unless she's a ham yourself and you get lucky. All right. Well, hey, cool. So what's going on with you, Rob? So what's the POTA look like?
I started doing it a few years ago, and then I kind of got sick of it for a while. So I probably didn't do much for maybe 6 months or a year. I don't know. I wasn't keeping track. But over the last month or so, I started kind of getting back into it. And you guys are going to laugh. There's a state forest directly across the street, probably about 200 feet from it. And that's a POTA entity. And I just never go over there and activate until recently.
Wait a minute. You have literally something you can walk out your front door and go activate?
Yeah.
You could get like a kilo in a day.
Yeah. So I obviously activated over there and stuff, but not very often because I'm always going like all different directions and stuff. And the last job I had was a little bit stressful, so I didn't have a lot of time. But now the new job I have, I'm working from home 3 days a week. And I get a lunch break now, which is kind of nice. So what I figured out I could do is on my lunch breaks when, nobody's here, my wife's at work, my son's at school, I can go across the street and activate for half an hour, 45 minutes. And I'm working on getting a kilo. I think I'm up to 550 or something. I'd have to look at the page, I guess, and see where I'm at. But I'm trying to get the kilo over there just to say that I did. So that's kind of my current thing. But as far as what I like to do with POTA, I also like to ride motorcycles. I have a couple of small motorcycles. So what I do in the summertime is I try to activate POTA while I'm riding the motorcycle. So I'll hop on the bike and put what I can carry on there, and find a park somewhere, an hour away or something, go there and activate a little bit and then ride around, kind of a thing. So that's what I've been up to. And now that I'm sort of back into it, of course it's not really riding. Well, riding season's almost over. So I've got some ideas for the spring when I can get back out there. I've got a few options for antennas and things that I want to experiment with. But those are the things I like to do with POTA.
Very cool. Nice. So it sounds
Yeah,
like
yeah.
you could go ahead, Todd.
Rob, there's a park right near where I work, the National Rail Trail, and Eric and I are kind of activating it side by side. Sometimes we've done it together. I think Paul and I did the first time I activated. It was Paul, Eric, and I. But yeah, I do it on my lunch break. So I've got it down. I've got it down where I know exactly where my antenna needs to be. I don't even have to check it anymore. And I go in there and I'll whip out like 20 to 50 contacts, pack it up, and be back, within an hour. So, but yeah, that's pretty awesome that you're able to do that. And you're talking about antennas. That's one of the things I wanted to talk about tonight. I watched on Ham Radio 2.0. Jason did. It was a couple days ago. He did a review on this thing called a Res antenna, the Ranger 80, and it's a coiled, like bottom end coil antenna. And have you guys heard of it? Have you guys heard? All right, so it comes with a backpack. So everything's in the backpack you need. It either has a spike or you can have a tripod for it, and it has a military antenna, which is kind of like on the rope. You're going to have that rope with, they bend down like a tent stake, or you can get a whip antenna. You get to pick one of them. I'd say get the military one and then buy the whip one for $20 because the military one's like $84. But it looked pretty awesome, and you can add. It comes with 4 radios. You can add another 4, and he loved it. He was in Texas and it was wicked dry, so he was having a hard time, you know, um, getting it, really tuned. But he was making a ton of contacts on it, and what was cool about it is it's got like its own, like it's something that it's a backpack. It's all in a backpack, and it's pretty. He set it up fairly quickly, and it does 80 meters. So I think it does. I think he said 15 to 80, but you can do 10 if you get the whip antenna. You can shorten it and you might be able to tune it to 10. But I thought it was cool because it's a vertical that you can get to 80 meters on, and not a lot of people do POTA on 80 meters. And I think if you got out there and you're able to activate on 80 meters, you might get a lot of people because it's not a popular band that people decide to do POTA on.
It's funny you say that because the park across the street here, I have a wire permanently in the trees over there. Probably shouldn't, but I do. Nobody's knows it's there. It's not in the way of anything, but it's just for 40 meters. And I was looking at it the other day and thinking, I could probably add some link to that and make it for 80.
Yeah, I mean, I use my I have the Buddy Pole Pro. That's my POTA antenna. And that thing packs up so tightly, it fits right in a backpack with my radio, my tuner. I have an 891, so everything fits in this small backpack. And I just throw that in the car, and when I want to, I got some time to activate, I just stop, whip it out, and it's all there. And I've brought that with me to Mississippi and Florida when I was traveling. So that's like a really good antenna, and I like it. But this one really interests me because it's a little different, but it gets the 80 meters, which is pretty cool. And then the Buddy Pole, yeah. Are you any of you guys? You're familiar with the Buddy Pole? Are you, Rob? So
Yeah,
the coil is like you got these little pins, and you got to screw them in, and you got to adjust them for each band. Well, with this res antenna, it's kind of got like a notch, and you just kind of move it up and down, and it clicks in automatically. So there's nothing to take apart or unscrew. You just kind of move your positioning up and down the coil. The farther down you go, the more, or the farther up you go, the more coil you're using, or whatever. So it looked pretty cool, and it's something. It's quite expensive. I mean, I think it's just the basics thing is like $550, right?
Oh, wow.
But if you get the tripod and you get the other antenna and you get the extra coils, you're looking like $700. but it does look like a cool antenna, and it does. I think it would work awesome, like on the beach.
Well, you guys can hear me, right? You got my audio?
Yeah.
Okay, so you're at $700 now. So, dude, another $600 you can get the Buddy X and get.
But
The only one you don't get is 80.
You already have one, so I can
I
just
know,
use yours.
I know. But so okay, so the question begs itself. I mean, obviously this is a coil, and Rob just mentioned he's a wire guy, and he's got something there permanent there. So, what like. This is a kind of a debate for me because I'm a big Wolfer recoil guy. I love my Wolfer recoil, and I know a few guys have it, and some of them have moved on from it and are doing other directions, and totally fine. I mean, I'm not going to hold anybody over the feet to the fire if you're not a Wolfer guy or whatever. But I love that antenna. I mean, it's been my go-to since day one, but it sounds a little bit like the one you just described a little bit in terms of configuration and design, right? Is it the same kind of setup or no?
Yeah, so it has the coil, but it's at the bottom, and then you have the antenna on the top, and then on the coil, it's got this mechanism that kind of you move it up and down. Now, there's no way to, like on the Buddy Pole Pro, there's little markers. It says like, oh, if you want to do 20 meters, go this far down. If you want to do 10 meters, count this many coils down. This one really doesn't have that. You're kind of moving it up and down and trying to figure it out. He did say like, once you use it a couple times, you'll know you'll know in the general area where 20 meters is, where 10 is, whatever ones you're activating on.
Right.
So yeah, I mean it's pretty cool antenna, and like I said, it comes with a backpack, so it's all packed into one thing, and he set it up pretty quickly. I mean, he said the biggest problem was it's so dry there in Texas, they hadn't had rain, that he thought that maybe the tuning was a little bit harder just because the radios weren't. There's no moisture in the ground. But he
how to solve that problem?
How's that? Pour water on it,
or pee on the base of your antenna. You got to relieve yourself anyway.
Yeah.
That may lead
to
to
the antenna.
Yeah.
You got an animal.
Spring Watson. Just so you guys know, Watson is Paul's dog, and on field day he peed on my tent or my canopy. So that's
during the live stream.
That's the inside joke.
He was the star of the live stream for field day.
You guys know who Tim Tron is? You don't know who Tim Tron is?
No.
Ask him about Pissoline sometime. He's an AM guy from Maine. He's actually, I think he's one of the organizers of Nearfest.
Very cool. We'll have to make sure we have him on to talk about that.
And Buddy Pole is such a good antenna. I have one too, Todd, and I like it. And during the last POTA meetup, Steve in our club, he brought a couple antennas to demo to us, and he showed us a super antenna and an Alex loop. And the super antenna was really easy to tune. It came with a ruler and had a slide coil. You'd put the ruler on it, and you use the slide coil, and you could tune the thing very quickly to wherever you wanted to go. And I believe that one did 80 meters also. And
Tim, I think that's probably what this thing is, a slide coil. So you slide it up and down. But that's a good idea to use a ruler. Figure out, you just put a note to yourself like, at 3 inches is this band and at 6 inches is this.
Yeah, it's just a plastic ruler that has all the meters on there, and you put it on the coil and you slide it up and down to the right spot. It was really easy to tune, and it had individual radials for each of the bands that he pulled out of a bag and just hooked the right radial up and throw it out, and it tuned up very quickly. And I really liked that super antenna. And the other one was the Alex loop, and there was an article in last month's QST magazine about it, and he brought it and he showed us orienting it vertically and orienting it horizontally, and he was able to get a bunch of bands tuned in on that. But I was really impressed with that super antenna, and that one's on my wish list. I really thought it was a good one for POTA. and it folds up just like the buddy pole into a little tiny bag, you know. Oh, is that the Ranger that we were talking about, Eric?
Yeah, it looks like it is. That's the
Yeah,
antenna.
that's the one.
Okay.
Nice.
Yeah. Now, with that bag alone, that's worth its $550. I don't know if that's optional or not.
It looks very similar to a Wolf River coil.
Yeah, I think it is. It's also, I guess, everything in it. He said it's all American except the bag. So everything, all the parts, everything is made in America, whatever, except the bag. You know, the bag's probably like from Amazon's from some China company or something for like $20. But if you want, I mean, he on Ham Radio 2.0, it said POTA with the res antenna Ranger 80 for HF ham radio. Like I said, it was on last week. It was pretty interesting, and I'd never heard of it. And this company, I guess that's basically all they do is have that one antenna, but it looked pretty cool.
Yeah, so it's one of those. What was that? So begs the question. So, and obviously Tim mentioned you got a vertical there, and Paul's been experimenting the verticals. Rob's got a little wire. What like do we find that when you're out in POTA, and actually I think Miguel had a good question there in the chat. With what's people's POTA preference? Obviously when you're out there. I mean, Rob, you got the luxury where you don't have to go further than 20 yards to your POTA destination. But when you do end up leaving your driveway, what do you you primarily operate? Special, consistent. Are you habitual in your terms of your operation, or it's just when you get to your location? So, I'll leave it to you to kind of.
No, I end up doing something different almost every time I go. So, of course, it depends on what vehicle I'm taking. If I take the motorcycle, then my options are limited. I have mounts on the motorcycle. I can put 2 ham sticks on the motorcycle and bring those along with me. They're vertical, they stick up. I look like a fool riding the thing, but I can carry those to the park. And I have some radials that I clip onto the mounts, and it works great. I sometimes have to use a tuner because the ham sticks go out of tune a little bit on me, but that works just fine. And what I've found with that is when I'm on the motorcycle, I end up at these obscure like wildlife management areas and stuff for some reason. So there's no picnic tables. So I actually have a foldable camping chair that I got on Amazon that, packs up. I can put that in the tail bag on the bike along with my, radio and stuff. And that works great. I have no problems with, using one of the ham sticks, the radials, and sit on the chair, put the radio on the seat of the motorcycle, and just kind of, chill out there. If I'm going to a regular park, then, I'll take my car. I've got an old Suburban that I drive around most of the time. So I'll just pop the hatch. And again, I got my foldable chair. I'll sit on the ground and use the base of the car as my surface, unless there's a picnic table or a pavilion or something like that, in which case, I'll prefer that. And if I can throw up my end-fed half-wave, I'll do that. If not, I've got a ham stick mount on the car too, and I can use those. So that I've had lots of success with just the end-fed half-wave or the ham sticks. When I first started doing POTA, I had a linked dipole, and that was capable of 80 meters as well. I could stretch that out if I was at a big enough place, and that worked good, but it was a pain in the butt to set it up. So I've just gone down to the end-fed half-wave or the ham sticks for right now. I was experimenting with a Delta loop that I was going to try and bring out, but that got real cumbersome to kind of pack up, and I left it across the street. I was going to experiment with it, and somebody took it. So
I like the idea though on a park, guys, throwing up a wire and just leaving it there, and then especially when you do all the time. Like Eric, we should probably think about that for the rail trail.
Yeah, the only problem with the rail trail, I'm sure like Rob knows that he can see the traffic and stuff like that. We'd have to like go down there and make sure our antenna is still intact or hasn't been taken down by Parks and Rec or something.
Well, this spot across the street, nobody goes there, so it's it's just in the trees. It's out of the way. It's not bothering anybody. And when I'm done with my kilo, I'm going to take it out of there. But
it's funny. Like for me, I do a lot of parks. I kind of like on a whim, like, oh, let's see if I can activate a park so it's real short short, and it's not like that. But if we were going to do a park like for a long time, like Eric has the Hex, the Buddy Hex, is it called the Buddy Hex? I think, Eric, and that thing is awesome. But we went to a park after Nearfest in the spring, and we spent like 2 hours trying to set it up to find out that they gave us the wrong length. So we never got it to work. So we whipped out the buddy pole. We were like, we're going to activate this park because, we've been here for 2 hours, and we ended up using that. But I think like if we were going to do like an all day activation at one park, I mean, I think like his Hex beam would be the one to go with, just because it's, you're not as compromised. But I've always used a vertical. I think I've used a wire maybe once or twice, but the buddy pole Pro is my go-to antenna for POTA. But like I said, I'm up for looking for other ones too, because I mean, it's always nice to mix things up a little bit.
So if I could, kind of chime in with my input here on Miguel's question. As a relatively new POTA operator, right? I find that my kit and my setup is constantly evolving. And so it also depends, on where you're going, and what the setup is like. Obviously, if there's a picnic table or a pavilion, that's ideal and it's very nice. I keep a little Cabela's folding aluminum table in my truck, and a little foldable chair. I mean, obviously, I'm not gonna hike for miles with a 50-pound pack, and my table and my chair. But if I can park somewhere and I can walk, within 500 yards, of my truck, I'm quite content to just lug that stuff. But the hope is that down the road, I can have like a smaller bag, where I can just take a couple of my organizational bags, and I can throw them in a smaller bag, and I could have my radio, a battery, and the antenna, where like I could hike up a mountain with it, and activate anywhere along that line. So I thought it was a great question that Miguel put out, and you should kind of want to try and tailor your setup to where you're going the most frequently, and it never hurts to have a backup setup.
Yep, one is none, two is one.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so for me, it's like funny. Actually, I'll throw it over to you, Tim, since I'm the one developing the echo here. But so when you go out and do your POTUS, Tim, what's that kind of look like?
I've done a few different ways, and I'm like Paul. I'm relatively new. Also, I've had my license for a couple of years, and I've activated the park with the end-fed half wave, and I've also used the buddy pole, and I like both. Just depends on what you're doing and where you're going. The first park we tried to do was Chloe Dam, and Kim and I went out there and set up, and my radio failed. So, but it didn't deter me from still trying. And another one we did was Marshall State Forest, and I did that in New Ipswich with a vertical, and we had to drive really far out into the woods. And Kim and I took our RAV4, and we drove up a logging road a few miles into the woods, and there was nobody out there. I mean, we were out in the middle of the woods, and we set up on the logging road. And at one point, believe it or not, an Amazon truck came flying down the road. And I was like, Amazon is out here on the logging road in the middle of the forest. And
delivering your packages? Is it trying to
yeah. And we had to move everything out of the way and let the Amazon truck go by.
Was it like Domino's, where you just dropped a pin? You were like, "Give my delivery right here."
I don't know, but he he went off into the woods on the trail, and he never came back. So I don't know if
I bet he had to poop.
yeah, or he knew somebody out there, or he's sleeping in his truck or something. But Kim and I were both wondering, where the ghost Amazon truck went, because it just went off into the woods and never came back. And we were pretty far out in the middle, and there was only like four people who had activated that park, and I see why, because you got to really drive far out into
The woods,
into
yeah.
the middle of nowhere. The only people that can get out there are Amazon and really determined hams, I guess. So
Okay. So when you did those activations, you prefer your verticals over or QRP more, or do you enjoy running 100 watts?
I enjoy using the vertical, the buddy pole that I've used. I like that antenna, and I like Paul's Wolf River coil antenna he had at Winter Field Day, and that does 80 meters, doesn't it?
Yeah, that does.
Yeah, and that's a pretty nice antenna. It's pretty durable, and that's the one that we've seen demoed at the club. Eric brought it to the club and did a talk about POTA, and he demoed it, the Wolf River coil. And so if you want to get on 80, that might be a good choice also. I haven't seen a lot of people doing, like Todd said, I haven't seen a lot of people doing, at least digitally, doing 80 POTA. But yeah, if you could do it, why not? Why not try it? It'd be part of the fun,
I'm thinking though, I was using the Flex last night, trying to stay awake, and I threw my I decided to check out 80 and see what was going on, and man, there were a lot of people, angry people at 3 a.m. talking on 80 meters. So, it may not be a good idea if you start activating parks on 80 meters. You might get the hate.
Hey, listen, my hemorrhoids are flaring.
It's not like 7.2. I thought 7.2 was a great channel to just listen and be a participant.
These guys were like, they're out of control, and I'm like, I mean, it was pretty bad, and I'm just like, wow, 80 meters is like a whole different band. But I don't know what would happen if I've never seen anyone activate on 80 meters, so I don't know how many people do it. And have you seen anyone? Has any of you guys seen anyone do it?
I've activated on 80 once or twice, and yeah, it was fine. I didn't get a lot of contacts, but I activated on there and it was okay. In fact, I think one of the times was even on a Sunday morning, so it seemed okay. As long as you stay away from the AM window, you'll probably be okay on 80, I would think. But I don't know, maybe not.
Yeah.
So I did a POTA test from the hotel in Florida on 80, and it was really successful. So 80 works. It's just you got to stay away from the old timers talking about their hemorrhoids.
Right.
Well, if you do it digitally, nobody's going to tell you about the hemorrhoids.
Yeah.
You'll just exchange some basic digital information and be done with them. You won't have to hear about their doctor visit or anything like that. And
well, that's like what I like to do is, and especially now that I've gotten used to POTA and how it works, I like to start off on a non-20 band, right? Like anything but 20 or 40. Like, let me try something like 10. If 10's activated, 15, 12, whatever. And if you're not getting anything and you need to, you run out of time and you need to activate the park, switch it over to 20 and you'll be sure to get it for the most part. But like I said, when I did Vermont on Friday, I did it all on 10. And I was going to switch to 20 because I saw a ton of people on 20. The band looked strong and I ran out of time. I'm like, oh, I got to get out of here. So, I like doing the bands, and I've gotten a lot of people like thanking me, like, hey, thanks for activating 10, because it's not too many people do it. But lately 10's been happening, so there's been a lot of people. There's been more and more parks being activated on 10. Plus, you get, I got everyone everywhere from California out to Poland, and basically the whole United States. So on my they were all over the place. So it was a pretty good activation, and like I said, you get a lot of foreign. I did activate my farthest park I hunted was New Zealand, So I got a New Zealand park. But that was again at like 2, 3 in the morning.
Hey, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Let me.
Yeah, that's pretty good. And 10 meters will also, this will also give the technicians a chance to make a POTA contact. So I think that's a good place to go and try to activate.
Yeah, so for me, I guess it's one of those things that you know, I tend to try to prepare as much as I can. But I do a lot of driving, so like my park activations are like, you know, within like 45 minutes, get in, get out, and I'm done. So I try to, you know, take advantage of like the quick drive-in type stuff and activate. But for me, it's always, you know, if I forget my Wilfer recoil, because I've been doing that lately, I don't know why. Maybe it's because it's underneath my desk and it's, you know, in a bag that I just don't grab when I grab all my stuff. But I've got an ATAS 120 on the truck, and so that's always been like my lifesaver. So that antenna does phenomenally well for being a compromised antenna, and I have to say, even like when the conditions have been just really bad across the board because we've got a solar flare or something, that one is kind of almost in every time, or almost maybe once, I think it hasn't saved my bacon and I came up short activating, but that was like, you know, those treacherous moments where you just sit there and you're like, I need one more contact. How many more 1,000 times do I have to sit there and go, CQ POTA, please someone respond? And, you know, so,
all you have to do is say last call, and then like 15 people will call.
I did. That's my secret. I do last call for Vermont, and like all of a sudden it was like boom, 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 boom. Like they're just waiting, right? Like they're waiting, like, oh, when's he gonna call last call? But yeah, you get the stragglers that come in, and yeah, you'll get a few more. But
Or you got to bring your XYL with you and have her call.
yeah, well, that's my secret
sometimes
button.
that works.
I know Todd rags on me for having a secret button. My daughter goes on POTA events with me sometimes, so she records the, you know, the pre-recorded CQ message. So in an emergency, I'm pressing that button, you know, and it tends to get me over the hump there. At that point, after the third guy realizing that it's a guy on the other end, it shuts the system down pretty quickly.
He
But
cheats.
don't cheat.
Feel free to have her record one for me.
Yeah.
See, it's you know, I could start a business on this one.
see, Rob. What happened was his daughter comes to field day, and I'm in my, what do you call it, my shelter, trying to work a pile up, and I'm trying to get through. And I'm probably 45 minutes. I'm not getting anything right. She goes, "Oh, let me try." First time, boom, done. I was like, "Are you kidding me?"
I've got a similar story. I've got a I guess it's over there. I have an Elecraft K3 that I won at Nearfest. It was the door prize in 2013. But it's, you know, the bare bones, it's the 10-watt model. You know, so it's a K3, but it's only 10 watt. It doesn't have the 100-watt. I brought it to my club for field day one year, and I don't remember what antenna I had, something, and a G5 RV. I had that set up. And I'm using this 10-watt radio, and nobody's coming back to me. And this lady came over. She was sort of new to the club at the time, and I said, "Do you want to operate?" I says, "I'm not making any contacts here, but you know, feel free." I said, "The radio's only 10 watts, so maybe we're not going to make too many contacts." And she said, "Oh, that's good. I'm kind of new, so I want to go slow." Okay, so she gets on, instant pile up, 10 watts. So it's like, okay, now I see what's going on here. But she had a lot of fun. I'm glad that she got on the radio and got that experience.
Well, and you did get the credit for activating the park, though. So, you know, you technically.
Well, this was field day.
Oh, field day. Okay, so
field day. So we were using the club call.
You helped the club along.
Yeah.
Good on that one.
Get you some points.
Yeah.
Hey, it always works. And actually, you know, we should have them on and you know, have them share their stories. But it'd be pretty cool. So cool. All right. Well, hey. So one last, you know, go around to anybody, you know, working on any interesting, you know, what we'll call phase 2.0 projects. Like for me, we'll give a little, you know, primer here. I'm shaping up a beach, you know, kind of QRP setup that I can take that's pretty portable with me for summer vacations and whatnot. But any of you guys working on other like kind of travel POTA type stuff, or you're refining your kit? What anything you know, kind of been working on recently with related to that?
I'm working on a cold weather setup, and I have my ice hut and my buddy heater and a little antenna. Just getting that together because Kim and I are going to do a few cold weather activations, and we might combine it with some ice fishing. I don't know yet. We'll see.
Yeah, the only thing I got planned is I've got that ATIS antenna, and I got to get Ryan, our other co-host. He's got a friend or something that can bend metal pretty easily, and we're gonna try to build a mount so I can use that for POTA activations in like January, February when it's like a blizzard outside and I don't feel like going out, but I want to activate a park.
Well, so Todd, you should have got the clam ice house to go with your summer one.
Yeah, I know. Well, I almost bought that one and not the summer one, but that summer one's pretty cool. And that's a pretty, except, so I got this, so everyone knows, I got this shelter. It's like a screened-in shelter. It's pretty big. It's kind of like an octagon. And it came inverted, meaning they put the cloth on, or the material on, inside out. So I was like, you got to be kidding. Of course, I didn't check it out. I get it on Amazon. I leave it in the box. I bring it to field day. Like, what could go wrong? And thank God Paul was there, the Marine, and he figured it out. And we actually inverted and flipped the whole thing around and finally got it, up and running. But they also make the igloo, cold weather, what do you call them? Like the fishing huts, right?
Yeah, it's portable bob house.
Yeah, portable bob house. So, but yeah, so that's my that's my station setup. It's big enough that you can have a bunch of people in there, and it's got some Velcro side panels. So if it's raining, I could protect the equipment from the rain getting in, and if it's not raining, you can take them off, and you got the airflow. So. But yeah, I couldn't believe it. And it looked, when I got the box, it looked like it had been opened or whatever. So I thought maybe it was just a return, but I'm sure someone bought it and was like, this thing's inside out, and returned it. And I was going to do the same thing, but I was like, he's like, I can fix it, and we messed around with it and got it up and running. So.
Yeah, as far as the kit goes, I think it's good to keep an open mind that your kit should always be evolving. Obviously, coming into winter, I'm looking forward to ice. Hopefully this year we're supposed to have a really cold winter, and so the last few winters we haven't had a whole lot of ice. I haven't been able to do a whole lot of ice fishing. So hopefully, I'll be able to put the Wolf River coil out outside the ice fishing hut and have my traps set up. And next week, so my birthday's tomorrow. Wedding anniversary is Thursday. So Wednesday we're going up to Forks, Maine, and it's my ideal vacation. It's a cabin in the middle of nowhere, and so I'm going to bring the radio up, and hopefully, I don't know that there's a state park right around Moosehead Lake or not, but if anything else, I'll get on the air and play some HF. But yeah, like always be evolving your kit, and always be looking at ways to improve, and just have fun. That's the goal. Have fun. Talk to people on the air, and just get out there.
I agree. I think it's, everything from a shack to your Go kits to your POTA kit, everything's changing, every day. You'll find something, you'll see something that someone has that's better than how you were doing it. Like, oh, I'm going to change to that. Or so like it's a never ending project, which I think that makes it fun. I mean, it makes it kind of interesting. It doesn't, when I first became a ham, I figured I'm going to buy one HT and be done with it. Oh, then I'm going to buy a mobile rig, and then I'm going to buy an HF rig, and I'm going to be done. I'm never going to have to buy it. And I'm going to buy one antenna, and they laugh at me because now I'm buying antennas. It's just getting crazy. So, but I think that's part of the hobby, right? It's like new stuff comes out, new technology, bigger and better, smaller, whatever.
Well, if you went up to the cabin in Maine and never saw anybody, then you'd only have one radio and one battery because there's nobody else to encourage you to go buy more equipment.
It's that damn social media and the internet, you know. You see things like this. Like, I don't want to spend $600-700 on an antenna, but I watch this. I'm like, oh, that thing looks really cool. That would be a great antenna to use for POTA.
Yeah.
And
How about you, Rob?
yeah.
So for my stuff, I think I've already probably mentioned most of it. I'm trying to work on the motorcycle setup for next year. Hopefully I'll have more time to ride. So over the winter I can get that refined, and when the warm weather hits, I'll be ready to go. And then I just want to finish my kilo across the street before the snow flies, because once it does, I won't be able to get over there as easily.
Right.
So,
or you could just drive the car over the curb and run a longer coax.
well, the problem over there is the snow plow will plow up the bank, and I won't be able to get over there without snowshoes.
Oh, very cool. Cool. I
If
guess
we get snow.
Well, everyone I've talked to, including Paul, who's been, sending up the nice, snow signals, that's coming no matter whether or not I want it or not. But
Yeah, we'll see what happens.
You know, I'm just looking at the this week's forecast. Looks like up here in New Hampshire, probably be warmer where you are, Rob. Looks like Thursday is going to be a high of 74. That might be a day I'm going to be on the road and doing some outdoor stuff.
Is that the day we're doing our rove? Are we going to do that rove that day?
I know. I got to look. We got to talk. That looks like a good day, doesn't it?
It's 74, dude.
74 degrees.
There's a strip there's a strip in Maine, not in Maine, but strip up Route 1A in basically starts in Hampton or Salisbury, and there's a park literally like 5 miles everywhere, all the way up Route 1, and you can hit like almost 12 parks. I think when the rove was the big thing, we almost had it all planned, and then they pulled the carpet out onto the rove award, so we never really got back to it. But yeah, that sounds like a plan. I'm game for that if you're up for it.
Wow.
So
I'll be stuck in Burlington on Thursday. No POTA for me.
we'll have to meet up for an impromptu lunch when I'm down that way. I'll go.
Yeah, let me know if you're in the area. We'll grab something.
Sweet, sounds good. So I guess for me, the only thing I'm working on is I finally got confirmation from BG2FX that my FX4CR is on the way. I've got a waybill set and just waiting for customs to kind of pass it through. So that'll be on the way. And I just finished plunking down some money for a soda beams, the short 7-meter pole. That packs down pretty small, and I got a couple other batteries and a few other odds and ends to round out the kit there. And so that's primarily going to be like my beach radio. And the reason why I call it my beach radio is not because I like to just use it at the beach. It's because my wife's a big beach goer, and I can't stand standing, being at the beach for 5-6 hours straight, watching the world pass you by. And I'm like, okay, I got to have a radio. So this thing will do digital. This will do sideband. It packs down. It's 20 watts. It's got a, if you ever seen, if you haven't Googled BG2FX FX4CR, great little radio. There's a lot of reviews out there, but I'll probably throw one up on my channel when I get it just to, kind of go through the features in it. But it's going to be grab that small little pack, because if I tried to pack my 891 and my bag and everything, my wife would be like, you're not coming to the beach and you're ruining it for me, is basically what it would turn out to be. So that's my goal and where I'm going with it. And that'll hopefully will get flushed out over the winter time, and we'll be ready for spring, summer. And so I'll be doing it won't be truly QRP, but it'll be close, so I'll at least feel like I'm a QRPer. So, that's kind of my my plans going forward, and, we'll just keep doing POTA. So, let's, kind of wrap this up here. We're a little bit over the hour here, but, all of those that were online and in the chat, definitely thank you for hanging out, and we'll just kind of go a quick roll call here. We recognize Casey, if you're still hanging out there, haven't fallen asleep, man. Glad to have you on there. And we've got, again, WP5 Jason, W5 IPA Jason. And I think I saw Miguel in there as well. Good to have Miguel on there. And he was the one with a great question. So thanks again for posting that question there, Miguel. And so outside of that, we just want to go through here. If you want to let us know where people can find you and how they can get in contact with you, we'll start with, go ahead with Tim, and, how can people get a hold of you?
Okay. Thanks for having me here tonight, and you can check out my website, kc1qdk.com, and always a pleasure to talk with all you guys. And remember, failure is part of success. So don't be afraid to go out there and try it, because even if you fail, the next time you're going to succeed. So keep trying. 73, everybody.
Very cool. And so the early birthday boy there and anniversary too, way to blend those together. I think us men, we just screw things up and do that all the time because my wife and I are the same way. It's her birthday's the 30th and our anniversary's the 1st. So nothing gets done well. So over to you, Paul. How can they find you?
So you can find me on QRZ. Obviously KF4TPY.com, or I'm sorry, KF4TPY on QRZ.com. Ham Shack Hotline, 610-000-0244. And, I'm on social media, Facebook, and I got kicked off Instagram, but I'm on Facebook, so you can find me.
Very cool. Yeah, you want to follow some very good Scottish stuff, Paul's the guy to go to for sure. I always get a good education on that side. And so Rob, how can people find out more about you?
QRZ is good. You can go to YouTube if you want to laugh and look for 741 all spelled out in words. Good luck with that, though.
Great channel.
Other than that, I can't imagine anybody really would want to
I don't know, dude. You don't discourage yourself. It's a good channel. I go over there for the usual ham stuff, but at the same time, when you get into your motorcycle video was the one that kind of inspired me a little bit. I was like, oh man, maybe something to kind of dive into in the bike kind of aspect, more of the pedal style. But yeah, very cool on there. So cool. Well, again, thank you guys for being on there. Todd, obviously, how can they find you?
You can find us, me on W1STJ.com, QRZ, and also on Live Free and Ham. What is it? .com?
.com.
So, hey, I want to just also apologize to those of you that were on here dealing with this echo. We were dealing with it too. It seems like it just keeps happening. It's part of live stream. I'm assuming, right?
We can work it through. Yes. Somewhere. Or computers in general. We'll just dump technology and go back to pen and paper.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Well, hey, thank you again for everybody tuning in tonight. Again, if you want to, if you haven't already subscribed to the show, definitely subscribe to our YouTube channel, Live Free and Ham, or you can head over to our website and leave us a review. We love to get reviews, so definitely forward them on. We'll read your review if you post one in our next show. As we've said before, you can contact all of us on our social media for our latest information, shows, and content. And we always have our Patreon links and buy us a beer links in our show notes and on our website. So if you want to help out the show that way, you can definitely click those links and show us some love. And as Todd said, you can find everything you need to about our hosts. And again, Ryan is not here tonight, but he is definitely missed as always, and I'm sure he'll be back to the U.S. coast soon, and he'll be back on another stream too as well. So with that, everybody, thanks again for tuning in, and Rob and Paul and Tim, as always, we appreciate you guys for being on the show tonight, and thanks for making this a blast. So with that, we'll say 7-3s, and everybody will say see you later.
Thanks, guys. 7-3.